I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a radio announcer. I'm a high school football coach. And since I was old enough to stand on the side of a stream next to my dad, I've been an angler. I've fished with bait, lures, and flies. I've fished with spinning gear, fly rods, jigging poles, and tip-ups. I've stood on ice, waded rapids, and been tossed about the deck of a boat. And I want you to love fishing, be it freshwater or salt, heavy flows, high seas, or cutting through a foot of ice, as much as I do, no matter what the quarry, no matter the tactics, no matter the chosen tackle. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Yankee Fisherman, Thursday, October 1st, and we are keeping an eye on the horizon as there's a lot going on affecting fishermen this week. Probably the biggest being Joaquin. This could be anything from high winds and abnormally high tides to a full-bore hurricane once it reaches us here in Connecticut and the Northeast. Looking at the Weather Channel for the latest, Joaquin, currently a Category 3 hurricane, winds of 125 miles an hour, the eye passing over Samana Cays in the Bahamas. As you track this storm out, the path could be anywhere from central Pennsylvania to well to our east and offshore and anywhere in between. I, for one, am hoping that it takes that out to sea. And the European model, which a lot of people express a lot of confidence in, shows that the storm going out to sea. Then we start to think about it. Once we are able to stop worrying about, are there going to be power outages? Do I have to, board up houses? Is it a danger to life? We can think about the fishing. It's been a really hot blitz early on. Out on the Sound, I've seen a lot of pictures of guys catching albies, a lot of pictures of big bluefish. We don't know what the storm's going to do. It could blow more closer to shore and really heat things up, and it could just cause it all to dissipate, and that'll be that. And we're just kind of at the mercy of Joaquin right now. Stay tuned to the HAN network and your local HAN website for updates on what's happening in your town. I know Fairfield's issued statements. The state has issued some statements. Really, everybody just saying, prepare, don't panic. Good advice. Stick to it. There are a few cancellations that have already come down. Mianus Trout Unlimited, they had a fishing outing scheduled for Saturday. Weather forecast, and this not Joaquin related. Not good for Friday night into Saturday. So Mianus has canceled its outing for Saturday. And the 6th annual Hammonasset Festival at Hammonasset State Park in Madison, that was going to be Saturday and Sunday with Native American culture and tradition, birds of prey, artwork, environmental groups, children's events. That has been canceled as well. So if you've got an event scheduled, again, keep an eye on the web because these cancellations are going to start coming in. If you're thinking about going fishing, think better of it. With the heavy rains that we're going to have, and we're going to go from having no rain to having a lot really, really quickly. The water levels on streams are going to go up faster than you might think, and as these winds pick up, the waves along shore are going to get dangerous. Wait the storm out, then go fishing. Well, we're here to talk about angling, and that's what we're going to do after this next break. We are going to come back, and we are going to revisit a talk we had with Ian Sorrell. This about carp fishing, the Connecticut Carp Open, and the chance to catch a fish worth $100,000. That when we come back on Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop on the HAN network. The fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait in the Long Island Sound. This is the time to visit the New England coast, and the Dock Shop can get you outfitted with the latest fishing gear, jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, simply love the New England coast. This is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Have no fear. Hersom Acorn's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your original 3-minute horror movie today. Visit fastfrights.com for more details.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com. Kycote Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Kycote's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Kycote Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation Landmark.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
The fall bite is heating up. Albies, Bonita, Blackfish, Kovach, Yankee Fisherman, joined on the phone by Ian Sorrell. Ian imports and distributes carp fishing equipment through Saxon Tackle, also a carp fishing expert, also an organizer of the 2015 Connecticut Carp Open that they're making plans for right now. Ian, thank you so much for joining us on Yankee Fisherman.
Jack, you're very welcome. Glad to be on the program.
So, how did you get your start in carp fishing? It's just catching on here.
Well, I grew up in the UK and moved here in 1994. And I was carp fishing in the UK back in the 1970s. And carp fishing over in Europe has grown significantly since those early days. And believe it or not, it's now worth an estimated $5 to $6 billion a year as an industry. And we probably have close to 8 million fishermen throughout Europe who are fishing almost exclusively for carp nowadays. So I was amazed when I came here to the United States in 1994 that nobody was fishing for them, and then yet they're everywhere. So I had so much fishing to myself.
It must have been totally wide open, because it's really only in the past 2 to 3 years that we've started to hear about it here in the Northeast, and I think in the States in general. Why is it so much bigger over in the UK and Europe?
I think that it's just a very different perspective on carp as a sport fish. I was surprised when I came here that most people consider it a trash fish and that it wasn't really worth fishing for. Yet, when you talk to many bass anglers who've caught a carp, they wax lyrical about how hard it fights. So I think really starting to change people's minds, show people how to catch carp on a regular basis, to have a bit more respect for the fish and return them rather than just throwing them up on the bank. People have begun to acknowledge that they're a very worthy adversary.
So what are we looking at in terms of tackle for this? I've seen it done a few times. I've seen guys with racks, with alarms. It's got to be a pretty heavy-duty stick.
Anything like a light surf rod or a heavy bass rod is a great start. And you don't need to spend a fortune on equipment, although many of us do. You can start off with a basic reel, preferably a bait runner, a 7 or 8 foot, medium to heavy bass rod that can handle 12 to 17 pound line is a great way to start. If it can throw 2 ounces of lead, that's perfect. You're in with a shot.
And then with bait, I guess I've seen a lot of guys using a corn type substance. What are we looking at there?
One of the most popular baits out there, and one I use a lot still, is sweet corn. It's a great all-round bait, and carp love it. You can get into more sophisticated baits. People like to use feed corn. All you need to do is soak it for 24 hours and then boil it for about 30, 40 minutes until the kernels just start to split. You can flavor them if you like. It comes in it's a great chum as well as a hook bait. And the real trick, I think, is that people have learned to use over here is what we call the hair rig. And this is where the bait is actually suspended on a short thread or hair below the hook, rather than the bait being mounted on the hook. And carp have very sensitive mouths, and they can feel if there's a hook in the bait, and they can eject it so quickly. Most people don't get a hit. Whereas with the hair rig, the carp picks up the bait, doesn't feel the hook until it's well inside its mouth, and then when it tries to spit the bait out, the bait actually pendulums around on this hair or short length of braid, and actually helps to pull the hook in. And that's why something like a bait runner reel is so important, because when these things take, if you haven't got a bait runner reel or your clutch isn't loosened off, you're going to lose your rod. It's going to be straight in the water.
Wow. What's the biggest you've caught?
My biggest fish in the United States is 46 pounds, 4 ounces.
How about
but
back home?
Well, back home, the carp fishing was only really just beginning to get into its, forte, if you like. And any fish over 20 pounds, or even, was considered big, and 30 pounds huge. So, really, I didn't catch any of the really big fish that they have back in the United Kingdom and Europe now. And they have fish now that well over 50 pounds. The current record, believe it or not, is 102 pounds.
Oh, where is that from?
That was from a lake in Austria. And, quite frequently, lakes over there stock fish 40, 50, 60, even 70 pounds. So catching big fish is quite the norm over there.
Wow. That's just impressive. I just love to hook into something that big. Now, you're setting up, we're just starting to hear about the Connecticut Carp Open. Unlike a lot of the tournaments we're used to here, this one lasts a week. It's Monday, October 12th through Friday, October 16th. The peg draw is October 11th. This is up in Hartford. Ian Sorrell, tell us a little bit about the Connecticut Carp Open.
Okay, the Connecticut Carp Open is actually the brainchild of a good colleague of mine, David Moore, who has a business called Big Carp Tackle. They're one of the largest online suppliers of carp fishing equipment here in the United States. And David has actually run a number of tournaments, including a world championship a few years ago back up on the St. Lawrence River. And he and I were talking about the opportunities of bringing a tournament to Connecticut as a way to highlight carp fishing, and really because we've got so many more people fishing for carp here in the Northeast. So the tournament is basically just over 4 days. And this gives really people a great opportunity to get set up, fish, 24 hours, where legally available, possible during that time, and to chum the water and hopefully secure some big carp. And it's what we call a big fish and big four event. So there are prizes for the biggest four fish, and the biggest fish every day is worth $500.
Now, is this biggest in weight or in length? Because it's a catch and release strictly, correct?
That's correct. It will be actually by weight, and we will have roving marshals. So when somebody captures one of these fish, the modern carp anglers are very experienced at retaining fish in specialized slings or sacks for a few hours. And we'll have qualified weighing marshals who come along with certified scales, weigh the fish, make sure all the information is recorded, and then the fish can be released back into the water.
Very cool. Very cool. So how does one get the information on entering the 2015 Connecticut Carp Open?
There's actually a website, which is the carptournamentseries.com website. You can also find it online. If you have any problems, you can look me up on Facebook. Ian, that's IAIN, Sorrell, Sorrell. and message me or look for the links to the carp tournament series there. The thing that's really exciting is that the basic entry fee for the 4 days is $300, but for an extra $100, you can enter to have a chance at winning $100,000 if one of the anglers during the tournament captures a verified Connecticut carp record.
$100,000 if you catch a record between October 12th and October 16th, and you're registered in the Connecticut Carp Open. That's impressive.
That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah, and the current record is 43 pounds 12 ounces, which was caught by Mike Hudak back in May 2012. And I'm absolutely convinced there are much bigger fish than that in the Connecticut River right now.
What makes you think that?
Well, I think with more anglers fishing, we're starting to see the opportunity to catch more fish and hopefully bigger fish. And about close to 10 years ago, I witnessed a fish that must have been close to 50 pounds in the river.
Wow.
And we know that there are fish further up through Massachusetts and New Hampshire that are getting close to 50 pounds. So there's no reason why we can't start to see fish of that caliber coming out of the Connecticut section of the river.
How long a span of the Connecticut River will be open to the tournament? Because I know you have the peg draw, I am assuming, is telling you what spot you can fish?
That's correct. So David Moore and myself, along with our colleagues and friends at the Connecticut State Fisheries, Bill Garish and Peter Aristide, they've been helping us to find areas that we can fish, basically day and night during the tournament. There will be sections that will be starting from above Windsor Locks all the way down. We'll have sections about 30 pegs in Hartford, probably another 20 around Middletown, and then several down below Haddam through to Old Saybrook.
Oh, so you're going all the way down to the you're going all the way down to the Sound.
Oh, absolutely. And believe it or not, there are carp as far south as that. We know that there are carp that go up the Lieutenant River. So there's every opportunity that somebody could catch some very big fish in that tidal section.
Is that a good spot, that brackish water? I mean, I've heard of them more as a freshwater, but in those tidal sections, will you get the big ones as well?
Yeah, the real surprise is that carp are actually very tolerant of salt in brackish water. So they can actually handle up to about 17% salinity. Now, whether that's by preference or not, but the great thing with the Connecticut, that's pumping out a lot of fresh water. And those fish will move up and down with the tide, and they feed on whatever the crabs, the mollusks down there. And we know that they eat blue crabs, and big ones at that. They're quite specialized in being able to do that. They have these teeth in their throat called pharyngeal teeth, and they're quite capable of crushing up even things like zebra mussels, freshwater mussels, crabs, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they really will eat anything. Now, obviously, you would adapt your bait if you were down more toward the salt. You might want to throw a crab, clam, something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean, that's one option. But carp are really susceptible to being chummed. And because, as you say, there's something of an omnivore. If you can get them feeding on whether it's feed corn or any of the other specialist carp baits, you can really have a very good chance of catching them. So even it may not be quite what they're used to as a natural live bait, but in terms of getting them to take your hook bait, that's one of the real tricks.
I think that's an adjustment for me in the discussion, is the thought of chumming for a freshwater fish. We kind of think more about chumming for your big saltwater species, your tuna, your sharks. You really don't have to for bluefish. They'll just create their own chum slick. But the thought of chumming for a freshwater fish, even in a pond or in the Connecticut River, I think's a new concept for me. what can people do to prepare a chum?
There's a lot of information now out on the internet, which is great for people to look up. But one of the favorite things that people do is they'll take something like regular oats, a tub of regular oats, a 54-ounce tub, mix it with a can of cream corn. And then if you want, you can put a little bit of your favorite flavoring in there, either a fruit flavor or a spicy flavor. And you can mix that up. And it actually makes a kind of tacky porridge, basically. And one of the great things you can do with that is actually squeeze that around your hook bait or your sinker and cast that out. And it will break down around the hook bait and can be very attractive to carp.
Now I get, because I see all these guys posting pictures of the stuff they're brewing, and I was trying to figure out how they were doing it and what it does. That makes some sense. But you've got to worry then. Are you worrying then that the bait's going to totally dissolve, or there'll still be enough left on the hook after it breaks down for there to be something to set?
That material with the oats and the cream corn, that's actually just an attractor.
Ah, okay.
You can put whatever hook bait you like on the hook. And that will stay there. But this is really a way of attracting the fish into the area. It creates quite a cloud and some free food for them to chow down on.
Now, if someone wants to start out, Saxon Tackle can help them with what they need?
Yeah, between myself and David Moore at Big Carp Tackle, and fortunately now we have 3 stores in Connecticut who carry carp fishing tackle and bait. We have Connecticut Outfitters in Wethersfield. Mm-hmm. We have the Fishing Factory in Middletown. And we also have Rivers End Tackle in Old Saybrook. And these guys have got a great selection of carp fishing tackle. They've got great selections of bait. And they're more than happy to dispense advice as to where to fish and how to catch them.
Very cool, and you're very active on Facebook. I know you've posted some photos, and you can go to Facebook for information on the 2015 Connecticut Carp Open. Again, the peg draw, Sunday, October 11th at 7 p.m. Fishing is October 12th through 16th, 10 a.m. Monday through 2 p.m. Friday. Then fishing is closed. Total weight, catch and release tournament. If you're in the tournament, you catch a state record, $100,000. Impressive stuff.
Absolutely.
Impressive stuff. Ian Sorrell, thank you very much for coming on Yankee Fisherman. Been hoping to get you on and talk about carp fishing. It's something that I find interesting and I don't know nearly enough about. I'm always happy to get an expert like you on. And let's have you on again closer to the tournament and talk a little bit more about it and how the conditions are as we get closer to that Connecticut Carp Open.
Absolutely, I'd be delighted to do that, and if maybe we can do a radio show on the water, catching some carp. That might be a little bit of fun.
Let's talk about that. We let us definitely talk about that. Ian Sorrell, Saxon Tackle, the Connecticut Carp Open. Thanks for joining us on Yankee Fisherman. While the temperatures are cooling down, the fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait that are abundant in the Long Island Sound. If you love the New England coast during autumn, this is the time to be on the water. The latest from Shimano, Quantum, Avet, Hoagie, Phase 2, and more are in stock and ready to go at the dock shop. And don't mind those fall breezes with jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece from Grundens and Stormer. The dock shop will keep you warm and dry. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Remind you of the last time you went into a car dealership? Experience stress-free waters at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and find out how easy buying a car really is. Tired of all the bull? Relax and enjoy the experience of buying a car at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram. No bull allowed.
While the temperatures are cooling down,
Some days it's
fall
just
bite
too
is
much
heating
fun to
up.
do this show with these guys behind the scenes. AJ Simonowski and Don Eng on the controls there. Thanks again to Ian Sorrell for talking to us about carp fishing, the Connecticut Carp Open. A couple of updates there. There are still a few openings, so check them out on the web. The peg draw, Sunday, October 11th. That is at Cabela's in East Hartford. The awards ceremony at the end of the tournament will also be up in East Hartford at Cabela's. Prizes in addition to that $100,000 for the state record fish. Big fish pays $3,500. Big Four winner $3,500. Big Four second place $2,000. Big Four third place $1,500 for the big Mere carp. $500 for the daily big fish captured 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. each day, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. day one. All this is on CT Carp Open, 2015 CT Carp Open. They are on Facebook. Some great prizes there. Some changes possibly coming to Silver Sands State Park in Milford. They want to do some improvements in terms of adding amenities there. Part of what some people are afraid of is that they want to charge a fee as well, which you don't have at Silver Sands right now. MilfordMere.com has some great coverage of that. If you are watching the live show, there is a hearing regarding the tidal wetlands permit, and that hearing is tonight, Thursday, October 1st, 6:30 p.m. at City Hall in Milford. If you want to submit written testimony on that, you have until October 8th, and that can be sent to deep.adjudications@ct.gov. You can find the address and the email address at milfordmere.com. We'll talk a couple of events coming up next week in the Catskills. You've got the Hall of Fame inductions at the Catskill Fly Skirach. Bill Elliott, Charles Ritz, they're going to announce the fourth inductee today. That's going to be a good event. Coming up the end of the month, Art of the Angler. We will be at that up at the Ethan Allen Inn in Danbury. Both days going to be fun. Meet a lot of people, tape a lot of interviews. Also that weekend, so I can't be at both events, will be the Crossroads Angling Auction down in Bud Lake, New Jersey. That's going to be interesting. We have some clips from the last one that we're going to show you in a coming week and get you ready to go down. I was down there in April and just really had a great time down at the Holiday Inn in Bud Lake at the Crossroads Auction. That's going to do it for this episode of Yankee Fisherman. Happy birthday to Captain Jack, should he be tuning in. For the rest of you, tight lines.